Hello, my name is Edouard Gosselin. I'm the CEO of Kobo Resources, a newly listed junior gold exploration company on the TSX-V. And we are excited to talk about the project today as we have a new discovery we would like to share with you. And we're quite excited about the discovery. And it is in a prime location with a great asset and great potential behind it. So,
Edward, thanks for coming on the show. First time we've met or spoken. We love a new story on this show and on the platform, something new for people to look at. A discovery, they're not easy to make, and we'll get into that in a second. But let's kick off, find out a little bit about you. So what's your background? Where have you come from? And any stories of success in the past that we should know about?
Sure. So I'm a lawyer. I've been a member of the Quebec Bar for nearly 39 years. I've been involved in business left and right. Left the practice maybe 20 years ago to get involved in startups, raise cash for startups and whatnot. And set foot in Cote d'Ivoire 10 years ago on an attorney-client relationship and stuck around as the mining code was being revamped. And I was told that interesting things should be happening in the near future. So I decided to file an application with some partners, local partners, for a junior exploration permit. And following that was in 2014, I hooked up with Paul Sargent, our current president and COO, who's also a geologist. So we were awarded 2 small permits in late 2015. We created Kobo at that time. And we started exploration in January of 2016 in an area where it was exclusively dedicated to small permits and not the large traditional permits that we're typically accustomed to.
Well, let's kind of, I'd say, you referenced Paul there. We know of Paul from Largo days, great success over there. Let's just talk about the region, because not everyone understands West Africa. They don't really know Cote d'Ivoire.
Right.
So let's talk about that as a mining jurisdiction. So who are the kind of main players in the country?
The main players are Endeavour Mining. You have also B2 Gold that is there, Montage Gold, Barrick Gold has been there. Obviously, previously it was Randgold up with the Tongon mine. And you have Perseus Mining, who has 2 operating mines in the country. And they have a third one in Ghana next door. So Cote d'Ivoire is in the middle of, or surrounded, should I say, by Ghana, Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea, and Sierra Leone. Now, Cote d'Ivoire is a latecomer to the exploration game in the sense that the first years of the president, when the country became independent in 1962, was focused on the agriculture, production of cocoa, coffee, and whatnot. And obviously that was right because, they produce 40% of the cocoa in the world. But lately, since 2010 and more so 2013-14, the current government decided to revamp the mining code as they were not attracting foreign capital in the country. So the objective of revamping the code was to make their jurisdiction much more competitive with their neighbors, because Cote d'Ivoire hosts 35% of the the Birimian rock formation, which is the host rock for gold. So their gold production was way behind compared to their neighbors, even though they have the largest footprint in terms of the Birimian rock formation. So the mining code was adopted in early 14. And at that time, the country was producing basically approximately 25 tons of gold per year. Since then, they've brought that up to 45 tons per year, and they expect this to go to 62 tons a year by 25 or 26. So right now, there are 5 operating mines, but since the coming of the new code, 7 major discoveries have been made in the country. 3 mines are currently being built at the moment. So at that time when I was involved, I decided to set foot in there, and it was the right time to come into the country as it was opening up to foreign investors. And that's when I hooked up with Paul way back in 2014, and we put together the application, and we were successful in getting small permits. However, when we started our exploration program in 2016, we were in an area which I would say we're basically a stone's throw away from an operating or existing mine. There had been a discovery of 1.6 million ounces, basically less than 8 kilometers away from where we were. And the area where we were was not necessarily, or was not actually, staked by large companies. So as we progressed in our small exploration program, we made some discoveries, some very interesting discoveries, and we said, hey, we need to change the focus here. We need to petition the government to change the focus of the land package from small to large permits. So that's what we did in the fall of 2016, alongside with 4 other applications within the country. So we ended up at the end of that year with more than 1,500 square kilometers of land package filed under 5 applications. So that's how Kobo came to be born, out of this opportunity that we had at that time. And with the small discoveries, which were very, very important at that time, we had made 164 pits, basically 2 meters depth, 1 meter wide. And out of the 164, only 9 did not have gold.
Right.
So,
okay. You're in the right postcode. Let's say that. That whole Perimian green belt sweeping up from the coast in Ghana and sort of southwest up through Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Guinea. I think lots of successful companies in there finding gold. You did some trenching recently. The grades were sort of exceptionally high. We're talking sort of 6.5 grams over 29, 30 meters, something like that. That's with trenching, and I kind of want to talk to you about what the plan is there in a second. But again, I just want to kind of stick to help people understand, what you've got here. So if you stake this, it's presumably you haven't spent a lot of money getting to the position where you find yourself with the opportunity to make discoveries. So it's been a kind of low cost entry into country. You ran it privately for a while before going public. Why was that? It's an unusual thing for a Canadian group.
It was private, and the initial goal was a small alluvial play. So we didn't need that much cash at that time. So we played it carefully. And once we made that discovery in 2016, we said, this is no longer an alluvial play. This has to be a hard rock play here. So, and we're going to need some serious cash. So that's why we created a 100% owned subsidiary in Cote d'Ivoire, made the applications that I just talked about, and then got to work in raising capital. In the meantime, we had the application that was in place in 2016, but that was awarded in the fall of 2019. So we had 3 years in waiting before we got that permit. So the Kossou permit, which is 147 square kilometers, was awarded to us in November of 2019. Now everyone knows what happened in the spring of 2020 with COVID, etc. So we had to slow down, and we picked up our exploration program in the summer of 2020 with a mag survey with a drone, and from there on we kick-started a geochem program in the initial area we had discovered, which was approximately about 750 meters of strike. But today, we now have more than 9 kilometers of geochem anomaly that we have discovered since that initial exploration program.
Right. Okay. So why I think it's important is just I want people to understand, how you treat capital, in terms of you're careful with money, and you're not rushing into things thinking, it's just retail's money, off we go, the usual story. This is a kind of careful, considered approach to, and quite and sort of long run up to this moment.
That's right.
I think it's important to make that
so
point.
What we did is, obviously, we funded the company on a need basis only through high net worth individuals. And up until we completed the RTO in this past spring, we were basically we were under 50 shareholders. So we had raised from 2016 to 2023, privately, we had raised $4.5 million. We had 2 permits that had been awarded to us, the Kossou license, 147 kilometers, and the Cote license in the eastern part of the country near the Ghana border. That's for 300 square kilometers. So we did allocate some of the capital initially in 2020 on that permit, but we had found that the Kossou license warranted our attention, our full 100% attention. So we put the Cote license on the back burner and concentrated our efforts on the Kossou license because of the proximity to an existing mine. The road infrastructure was fantastic, etc. So we said, well, with the discovery that we've made to date, we need to raise capital and get money to drill. So we took care of our investors, protected the cash that they put into us, and had a very skimpy operation up until then.
Right. Okay. Everything I want to hear. So with regards to the capital that you now have, you obviously did a raise, say back in spring, and you're going to focus on Kossou, which obviously makes sense given some of the grades that you're starting to see with the work that you're doing. But just tell us about the plan that you've got, because obviously the geochem component, the trenching, etc., is kind of great, but it doesn't really kind of do much for the market. They don't understand it. They don't get excited about it. What they want is drilling. Yeah. That's where the excitement comes. So what's the plan?
So the plan is we raised a little over $4.5 million. We're allocating $1.6 million to a drill program that's about to commence by the end of this month. We're doing a little over 8,000 meters of RC drilling. Initially, our initial find was the road cut zone, where we had found approximately 4.6 grams per ton over 18 meters, and that morphed into almost 750 meters of geochem anomalies. But as we were doing the mag survey, we came upon the Jagger zone, and that became more and more interesting. And as we spent time there walking around, we made additional discoveries. And the Jagger zone now has become a prime target for us, with geochem anomalies over 1.2, nearly almost, I would say close to 2 kilometers with Jagger South included. So that is where we're going to be focusing the main part of our budget. We're doing, I would say 75% of the drill program is going to be executed on the Jagger zone, about 6,000 meters there. And then the rest will be allocated to the Kossou area, not the Kossou, but the road cut zone area and the contact zone. So with the recent trenching that we performed just about less than a month ago, you mentioned that we got results of 6.2 grams, and that was over 29 meters. So that was very interesting. And we had some areas where we had some geochem samples of 112 grams per ton. So as we kept focusing on the area, we came upon a much larger target that warranted our full attention. And so a month ago, we put the bulldozer to work, got the roads built, completing the drill pads right now, and getting the drill ready to mobilize before the end of this month. We've already signed the contract with the driller, so we're ready to go, basically.
Okay. And tell me, you mentioned obviously RC drilling, and just again, help people understand why that's the most effective type of drilling, given the stage that you're at and given the kind of ore body that you're going into.
Well, at this stage, obviously you don't have X-ray vision in terms of in the ground. So you want to know what the surface has told you so far. So the strategy here is to drill 60 to 50 meters and then step a little bit back, and then maybe go to 60 and 70 meters and 80 meters. And then at Jagger, we feel that we're probably going to go beyond the 100 meters because we think that there's a great opportunity to unlock there. We feel extremely confident that something is going to come out of there. Before Jagger, I would say to be successful at Kossou was about 500,000 ounces because of our neighbor. Now we're more thinking in the vicinity of anywhere between 1 million to 2 million ounces that we can probably generate in that area. Obviously, drilling is going to tell us the story, but so far the results are just bang on, if not overwhelming for us. We're excited. We're definitely excited, and we're going to be releasing the results on a regular basis over, I would say, close to a week and a half after we get the drill results.
Oh, right. So, wow. Okay. So our saying is pretty good there. I guess there's enough mining services in country to deal with that. So that's good news
there's
in terms of news
labs
flow.
Close to the capital. Yeah,
brilliant. Okay, I just want to talk about corporate structure here because I want this to sort of really as an introduction to the story because it's new. It's literally one of the newest kids off the block, right? Is around the kind of that corporate structure that you've got with obviously management and insiders own a big chunk of this, over 50%.
That's right.
50% at the moment. You're an explorer. You're going to go through the phase of raising money, drilling, raising money, drilling. That's the nature of the game here. So in terms of the way that you structure the share register, clearly management will have to dilute down. It's not a sign of the fact that they're not interested or they don't believe in it, but you're going to need that liquidity as well. So tell me about the kind of balance that you'd be looking for given the way it's structured right now.
That's the name of the game in the industry. So if you get into this and you're scared of dilution, you're in the wrong game. Two, your job as management is to perform and deliver results. So at the end of the day, if you start out with a good stake and then you end up with a very interesting stake, but you've been able to make other people a lot of money along the way, then that's success to me. So that's the way we plan to do it. Yes, the stock is tightly held. Yes, we've had a lot of private investors, high net worth individuals. They all believe into the story that we put together where we said, look, there is a big opportunity here for you guys and come along the ride. We're not your typical junior exploration company where you're smack somewhere in the middle or there's no infrastructure. We're basically 20, 25 kilometers away from the capital city. The roads to the property are paved all the way up to there. There is a power dam next door. There's already an existing producing facility 8 kilometers away. So we don't have to invest hundreds of millions of dollars to be successful. The infrastructure is there. The opportunity is there. We're like a brownfield project within an existing mine, basically. That's the way you got to consider it. And it's very rare for a junior to have this kind of conditions to be successful down the road. So that's why the capital that we have, we're going to utilize it to maximize the drilling and spend it on that. So we don't have to spend a ton of cash elsewhere other than focusing on getting drill results. Right,
and give me a sense of what the end game is here, because you've been at it a long time. You've been quite carefully kind of growing the opportunity here. There's a bunch of big players in town. In fact, Perseus quite very close to you, the Aussie guys, and you've got to work out how you insert yourself either into that ecosystem, and I guess through the drill bit, maybe it changes your mind. But what are the options on the table day one? Is it to say, right, okay, if we can prove up a decent sized resource, maybe that becomes interesting to someone locally. We don't have to raise the capex and really kind of destroy shareholder value at that for a while, or is the team conscious that understanding of what its skill sets are? You bunch of geologists, not mine builders yet.
That's right.
So what are the options on the table? What should people be looking at this company and thinking? Do you know what? At least they've got different options on the table, and I'll kind of follow them and see what they do.
Management initially started out with the concept that we're not mine builders, we're project generators. And we intend to stick to that business model right now and in the near future. The opportunity that Kossou brings to the table is a mixed bag in the sense that you have a bit of both because of the proximity of our land package to the existing mine. So on that prospect, the end game for us is obviously at getting, I would say, being successful on our drill program, hopefully building a resource above and beyond the 1 million ounce marker. We've had discussions with other players than our neighbor. I think that if we're that successful in the 7 digits in terms of resource, we will start attracting other players to the area. Now, if we're successful beyond, I would say, the 2 million ounce resource, we can start talking differently, So as the game unfolds, obviously we'll be able to react. And that's the way we've managed our exploration program, because we've made some discoveries, we've made more discoveries, and so on. And we've even changed our strategy on the drill program. We went from the RCZ zone to the Jagger zone. So we need to stay flexible in order to get or maximize shareholder value. So that's what we intend to do. The other permit that we have in the eastern part of the country, Cote, a MAG survey is being conducted right now, so we'll have the results later on this summer. We've got 3 other pending applications. We're probably going to be activating a third of the one over there, which is the Mbato license, almost 400 square kilometers. And since we've become public, we've attracted interest from other companies who would like to partner with us. So Côte d'Ivoire has a lot of opportunities going for itself, and especially for the mining industry and the gold market. So we intend to maximize our presence there. The fact that some of us are bilingual, the French factor, etc. Foreigners, they're interested in having foreigners. The political climate is very stable. The economy is growing like crazy at 6% GDP, has been so for a number of years. The roads are being revamped. They're spending a lot of money on that. There's a lot of construction in town. They've built 5 soccer stadiums for the Africa Cup that's coming up in January of this year. So the country has made the right decisions, and I think we're in the right place at the right time to maximize our investment.